Well, good morning, everyone. Warm welcome to my YouTube channel, Making It in Austria. I'm your host, Adela Mejanic. The background picture, as many have thought, it's Schönbrunn. No, it's not. It's Augarten. For the ones who have been following the Making It in Austria for some time now, or me on some of the social media channels like Instagram, they know I spend quite a lot of time in Augarten, meeting people or being at the playground. So do say hi if we meet. I would love to catch up. It's a wonderful morning. It's sunny in Vienna. We cannot believe. So Paula and I were talking about it. Is it real? Is it just my weather app? Let me look 3 times to the window. Paula, you brought a lot of sunshine with you, and that red color is gorgeous on you.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you for having me.
And what I like, I wanted to tell you before I forget, I love that picture you have. It's a profile picture on LinkedIn. I think one of the pictures you have on LinkedIn with the big glasses. No?
Yeah, it's
What it
a
is?
Apple
What's
Vision
that?
Pro.
Ah, okay.
It's a mixed reality devices mixed reality, augmented reality have been part of my career for a decade. So it's very
Okay.
natural that I still have leftover of that.
Okay. So I'm behind on that. But I've seen that and I was like, what it is? I haven't seen it on anyone in my network at least. So you're one of the few or the only one who has it. And I was like, it's so good, but I don't understand what it is. So yeah, Paula, to you. So thank you so much for joining us today. We have been chatting on LinkedIn for some time now, and we
Right.
had the chance to meet in person end of November. My
Mhm.
God, time flies. With the Flower Flow workshop, I still have my crown. It's still good
Me
to go.
too.
So anytime we do another one, so I'm good to go. So I have the crown. It
Mm.
was a beautiful evening, and I'm so happy that we found the time to do this today. I'm so curious, but all the projects that you do. So can you walk us through it?
Yes, of course. So I feel like my journey is not traditional at all. I'm originally from Brazil, and I was this little girl that grew up seeing her journalist mom traveling the world and coming back home with so many cool things and cool stories. And that really played a role on how my life, turned out or is turning out, let's say. But I was always in the field of international. I studied international relations, and it was clear to me that I was going to move abroad at some point.
Hmm.
Towards the end of my studies in Brazil, I had the chance to intern at the Atomic Agency, and this is how Austria came into my
Oh,
life at first. So I spent a couple of months here, and I have to say, my first experience in Austria was a little bit overwhelming because, well, although I didn't speak German at work, it was winter. I came December, January, February. It was very dark and gray, and everybody wearing black and brown. I can remember that so vividly. And as Brazilians, we talk very loud. And I remember entering the U-Bahn and not hearing a pin drop. And for me, that was so shocking and so different from most of the things that I have experienced before. But in any case, a few months after I eventually moved to Austria, I started studying here. The way that we have to reinvent ourselves to start a career abroad is fascinating. My way was pivoting to tourism, so from international relations to tourism. And then, yeah, I just had this realization that it wasn't for me, had a lot of bumps in the road. And I can tell you that I've had most jobs that a student immigrant has here. I also was an English teacher. I was a dance teacher. I was really trying to make it. And I remember sitting down on my computer 2009 googling English jobs in Austria. So that was a thing. Where are the English jobs? And I've been here, it's going to be 16 years very soon.
wow.
I've never
Congratulations.
had a German speaking job in Austria, although I speak German, I speak dialect, but I never worked in German. So a little word of encouragement if someone is, keep hearing there are no English jobs in Austria. Well, I built a career just in English here. So yeah, right
Wow.
now I'm like communication director for one of like an Austrian soonicorn, like super cool in the automotive space. And on the side, I have this side hustle trying to encourage expats to build their international careers here.
There's so many questions I want to ask. First of all, I believe you are the first guest from Brazil. And I really do apologize if I have forgotten, because we are approaching 100 episodes. So, and I'm the 6th month of pregnancy, so it might be the case. But the only person that mentioned Brazil, connections to Brazil back then, was the Ana Maria from the Bags with Legs, because she used to live in Brazil. So from the
Right.
and then
Yeah.
I remember she went to Brazil, and then from Brazil she moved to Austria. Yes, that's been also over 10 years now. You mentioned dance. What dance, Paula? So what is it? Is there a traditional, like traditional dance, or
Yeah. In
tango?
Brazil, dancing was part of my life growing up. I was dancing ballet for as long as I can remember, like being a child. And then when I joined university in Brazil, I started dancing semi-professionally. So
Wow.
that was forró, which is a Brazilian style
Okay.
dance, and also zouk, which is more like a sensual kind of, with Creole music, this French. And here in Austria, I wanted to make a living. I got an opportunity to, do one of those courses funded by the government.
Mhm.
And this was in the countryside of Upper Austria. I was teaching Zumba at the end. And I was teaching Zumba for like, young women like us, but I
Yeah.
was also teaching Zumba Gold for older women, which was so fun because, although it's not like legally allowed, I had to play some music that connected to them. So I
Yeah.
was dancing Hansi Hinterseher
Oh,
sometimes with
nice.
my with my
Oh,
students, which was fun. It was
oh,
such a fun
nice.
time.
He has a nice vibe. So his music gets you moving.
Yeah.
Paula, after 15 years in Austria, why do we don't dance in Austria? So we Austria is known for music, right? So it's like world known for music. So we play Mozart, Beethoven, everything around to our kids. So the first thing that my daughter got was one of these, music books. We have waltz when you fly with the Austrians. So there's all about waltz, 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 and the music and so on. But why don't we move more in Austria? What do you think? I might be surprising you with this question, but I'm curious. Why we don't move? So in Austria.
Yeah. I think on the one hand, we have very structured, routine prone lives here, which makes things run smoothly on the everyday. But I have to say, as someone who has lived in the countryside of Austria and has been on all of the Kia tags that you can imagine, I experienced also this fun dancing like lively side of Austria. And that's a part that I really miss by living in Vienna right now. But I've also experienced that side, and dance was a way of me to connect with Austrians in the countryside too. So
Right.
I wouldn't say that it's non-existent,
Yeah.
but we're less exposed, for example, than my experience in Brazil, which it's way more music driven, let's
Yeah,
say.
yeah. So imagine coming on, what would it be if you come to Stephansplatz, for instance, if you're a tourist or if you're visiting or for whatever reason, and you just see people at 1 o'clock Fridays, everybody waltz,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
instance. So I think imagine that, because that would be definitely a different feeling that you would take home, seeing that, because this is a home of music. People all over the world come to study music here, and we waltz once a year at the ball, but in you don't see it in a daily life.
Yeah.
So I would love to see more of people dancing, because then, as you said, it's a way of connecting, and it's just
Yes,
it's a beautiful way to, express yourself. And also, I believe it's one of the stress relievers, I would say, and we do need that, and then especially in another with the long winters, some dance would be
for
good,
sure.
to have. What about the list Austria? So I want to know more about it. So what is that you do? And I told you before, I love the name. You're
Yeah.
on my list. You're on Paula's list for Austria. You made it. You should do this like the top 50 or top 10 upcomers, newcomers on the
The
list of Paula.
idea of the list, as I told you, like this Googling was real in 2009. I wanted to find a list of the companies
Yes.
that provide English speaking jobs in Austria. And I couldn't find this list. And this is a project that has been that long on my drawer,
Yeah.
but life happens. We're building careers and finishing masters and, just so many things that I never had the time to sit down and
Yeah.
make this project
Yeah.
happen. But last year in January, I decided to leave my corporate job, and I had the month of February to myself, which, I typically make myself more busy than I probably should. But I thought that that was the perfect opportunity because A, I was looking for a job actually. Um, and B, I couldn't stand anymore the speech of you cannot make a career here in English.
Yeah.
There are no English speaking jobs. You are not going to find. So I wanted to prove people wrong.
Yeah.
It came initially from a place of, let me show you that this is possible. Okay. So, being a communications person in marketing, I knew what to do. I just wanted to open an Instagram and start
Yeah.
putting the message out there. I've been managing accounts for companies, but doing it for your own project is such a different beast. But that's how it came to be. And it started very small. I,
Mhm.
have a child at home. I was looking for a job. So there was a lot of things happening,
Yeah.
but I don't regret. If anything, I wish I had started much earlier. And I'm so grateful for the opportunities that has been opening and the connections that I've made.
Yeah.
And honestly, for the first time, I have this feeling that I'm doing something for my community,
Mm.
and that is priceless. So helping other people find English jobs, get confidence when pitching themselves, getting a CV that they are so proud of, understanding that their skills from back home is more than valuable here,
Mm.
that they
Mm.
can transfer those skills to other departments. For me, this is, yeah, it's really priceless.
And how does it look like then in practically? So do people then, if I know someone looking for a job, so do they come to you? And how do companies come to you then? So how does this work? So you are mediating that in between for them. So which sort of resources can we find there? So on your page, so what is that you've been done? What is that you're looking for? And also what have been things that you have identified, that are kind of like a misconceptions, as you said, like there's no English. You cannot make a career with only English, and you wanted to prove people right. Some other things that you did along the way.
Yeah, there's so much to unpack because this past year has been very enriching and allowing me to hear so many different stories. But I feel like the first aspect is the confidence
Mhm.
part. Having the confidence to look at a job and not take 100% of the boxes, but say, hey, I'm really resourceful, I'm really scrappy, I can do things. And if I'm just matching 60-70% of this list, I can still be of value for companies.
Mm.
And part of the work that I do, and now I'm starting to understand people that, this list is for sale, and it's for sale to fund the business. So I'm able to keep delivering free content for
Mhm.
people,
Mhm.
obviously. So the people that buy the list are typically more seniors. They already, it's not their first rodeo. They are confident on their pitch. So they just need to see where these companies are, find the opportunities. For those who are either, in a pivotal moment of their careers, I guide them through this process. I help them polish their CV. I help them understand how they can pitch their skills, and I give them access to, what you and I know is the most valuable resource, which is the network that I have built in the past 16 years. And making those connections have been fundamental for landing some of those jobs for my clients. So I really try to think from a strategic standpoint, how does it make sense to position these people? And no, there are not only jobs in the UN here. There's so many startups. There's so many hidden champions, global hidden champions that people might not think of. They're all in Austria. Think of Andritz, think of Palfinger. There's so many. And to your question on how companies work with me. So, so far, I wasn't, for me to recommend something, I want to be 100% sure that it's a great company with a great culture, fair on the processes. So I'm still working through some of the proposals that I got to promote jobs on my page or to promote, the company as an employer. I'm still working some of those proposals, but a perfect match for me was my work that I did with ABA, with the Austria Business Agents last year, which is just a perfect match, right? They look for highly skilled people that are interested in building their careers in Austria. And I'm coming from the other side, giving that confidence, working on the CV, working on the LinkedIn, giving, some introductions and making this connection happen. And ABA comes with the whole visa side of things, immigration.
Yes.
So yeah, that worked really well.
Yeah, we had them. We had Katja and Ines on the podcast. So if you have missed that one, so have a look at Katja Otta and Ines Vodanovic. Shared quite a lot of insight on, on all the free. I think that's also important to say that it's free resources that you now have. So anyone that is considering, so now you have Paula, and then you have the ABA. So it's a resource that is available. And honestly, we moved to Vienna, my husband and I, we moved 2013. It's now a few years later after you. And, thinking that English, having an English job, so was not really something that we were aware of thinking, considering at all. So it's like you're coming to Austria, so it's a German language. So you need to know the German and period, that's it. And I remember, so you mentioned in 2019, you were Googling some things. In 2013, it was also not that far away. From what I remember, so it was like 2015, 2016, when things started to change. So with a couple of, associations, like the Female Factor, I joined the PWN Professional Women's Network, and a couple of others that that I came to realize that they exist, and they also started back then. So it was not really, it was the time 2015, 2016, I think that things have changed, and and then different Facebook groups that came up, so different opportunities. And now over the last, that was 10 years ago, and now 5 years ago, there's a different things coming up. So it's a very different, for me, Vienna is now a different place. Of course, I have now my network and I have my ways through it, but I believe there's much more. So it's an evident, it's a fact. There's much more places now, resources, people like yourself that are promoting it, and that are very, and now with the social media, so you can easily get in touch, you can get the resources. So it's a different story. And we didn't finish on that. We were with Katja from ABA was the fact that, she said herself, she was like about 10, 15 years away from Austria. So she's an Austrian. And then with her family, she was in, Abu Dhabi, Tokyo, New York, Tokyo again, and in between. And then when she said, when she came back, for her, it was also this, great thing that she discovered that Vienna became quite more, quite international. So with experts from all over the world. So I do also remember, now I'm trying to really think 100%, as you said, But I believe my first job, it was presented in German. It might be that the Jobstelle, so the announcement, the posting, I believe, was in German. So and my first job I got at this career calling in Messe. So it happens once a year, October or November. So please do check it out. But it was back then, I think it was mostly for junior jobs, entry jobs into the company.
Right.
So I remember a friend said you must go there. So it's like it's a great place, that you just go out there and meet. It was like one of the first events that I visited when I came to Austria. We were seriously looking for a job, both of us. So because we came without the jobs and we had some money on the student visa here, so we were really eager to meet as many people as possible. So go out and mingle and network and so on. And over there, I remember when I presented myself, I had B1, I think, around. I was attending courses at Deutsche Akademie. And they said, oh, all good. It's like we are a Swedish company. It was Tele2 who became, who was acquired in the meantime by Hutch Group. And they said, yeah, all good. So, we are, it's our official language sort of is English because we are a Swedish company. So, and, we can onboard you in English. But I don't remember seeing that anywhere on the website. I knew the brand from Croatia, and that's how it also, I was just curious about what they do in Austria. So I just approached them, and then things opened up. So I brought my CV. I tried in my limited German back then. And I said, like, I'm looking for a job. I'm here. And they said, yeah, German is not an issue. It's not an issue. So it's like, we will sponsor German classes in the company for you. And, you can take the time the first year to, learn more and more, and then find your way within the company as a trainee, which was, dream coming through because but some of these things, it's like you have to really go and try. You really have to go and approach the people, because not everything is, so you need inside resources like yourself. Not all these things are published on the website. So if you would go back then on this website, Tele2, it was all in German, and this job was not even there because, it was maybe somewhere hidden and I was not looking carefully. I was focusing so much on career.at. So that was the only website that I knew. So I was like in between. So trying to really put this puzzle all my own to figure out where do I go first, because I have a limited time and resources, right? So I don't want to, the idea was not to send, to prove someone, okay, I've sent hundreds of applications, because there's no one to prove to, because you want to find these jobs, because we knew that we had to find this job. So there was no one that I have to, say, oh, I did 100 today, or I 50 or 20 tomorrow. Because for me, it was like stepping back and figuring out where, with my experience, with my degree, with, limited German, with good English, so where do I fit? So where are my best chances basically to send these applications?
Exactly.
To go to, and not just like send it like there's tomorrow and then hope
we
for the
know
best.
it's not effective. We know that throwing CVs out there is not effective. The job market has changed so much since the 2009 Paula that was Googling for this list,
and 2013 Adela. So I believe
exactly.
it's a different
But
world, a different
putting
beast.
yourself out there is already so many steps ahead from what the typical person would do. I talk a lot to my clients about what a typical person would do and how can we stand out from what the typical person would do. The market has changed even in the past year, honestly. Last year was a rough year for Austria. There were many layoffs. Some companies ended up leaving Austria. The climate wasn't as friendly, and that was my first year in business, which I take it as like really a challenge in my heart. Like I can help these people. I can help them get this, what I call the breakthrough role. It might not be the perfect role at first. You might not be fully leveraging your capacities. My first job was an English teacher because as you said, what can I do from my skills? Back then it was English. I can speak really good English, so I can teach others English. And that was my first mini career here. How can we think about our skills holistically and apply to the different kind of areas? So when I was talking to people and talking to my clients, I'm like, what are the breakthrough roles versus the long-term career goals that you have? Because this is a long haul game that we're playing here. It takes years to make this career right, to get it in the right environment with the right company and the kind of right culture, because all of those things make our career and make us happy. So it might not be perfect at first. You might stay 2 years in a place that, you don't have much space to grow, but it's this breakthrough. We need the breakthrough roles to get to the next level in our career to make it here effectively.
True. And I told you, I had a high, management position back in Bosnia, in Sarajevo. So that's where we came from. And then for me, it was clear when I came here, things have not changed. The environment has changed. My skills have not changed, but the environment has changed. That's very, very important to recognize. And back then I didn't know what is a coach and what is a mentor. And I learned all these things later on, and all the resources and all the places that you can go and ask these kind of questions. So I was, sort of left to myself to figure out the puzzle. And I told to myself, I want to, when I scrolled to like a lot of these jobs, and then I was looking into how, well, you look for the characteristics of it. So you try to find, it's similar to the last one, similar to the last one. So this is what the companies are looking. This is what the companies are looking. And I said, I want, as you said, my foot into the door. So if you have, and I started with the trainee position, but the trainee position was, fully paid. So I got the full-time job, a contract, and a salary that, fits to, to the requirements that they had basically back then for the red, white, visa. So to get in here, and I could then, have my husband as well apply for the plus one that comes with it. So there was a lot of benefits. And I said to myself, you take the step, if we can call it a step back. So, but then you are then in position to show what you can. And that's very important. That's for me. So that, the trainee position was planned with 1 year. So you go from one department to the other, which is an amazing opportunity. So you go into every single place. From the CEO is you're sponsoring you, and then you go everywhere, and then you ask all the questions that people usually don't ask because you're a senior and you're an expert. You cannot ask because it's a shame and blah blah blah, and everybody will look at you weird. So no, we came from the position where it was the three of us back then that could ask anything, any question that can have time with any expert within the company, and then we had to figure out what we actually wanted to do within the company. And from what was planned to be 1 year, and then figuring out which department I want to be, I end up within the 6 months, I got my full-time job.
Amazing.
Right. So it's because, I was there. So I knew that this was a place for me. I had the skills, I was learning the language very quickly. I had a supportive environment, I must say. So my colleagues were very top, top of the top. So they were like holding my hands all the way, taking me to all the meetings, speaking exclusively with me in German. They said, like, let's not mix it up, these things, because we tried it before with a couple of, colleagues, and then it ends up somewhere in between. And then you don't, so let's try to do as much as we can in German. You don't need to know the word. You just you explain it, and then we will help you along the way. So you need this sort of environment. And as you said, this confidence that even though you're starting maybe 2 steps to levels, or however we want to call below, and then you had a great position back then in your home country and all these kind of great things, but your skills have not changed since you moved the borders. So it's you brought all with you. So it's all your package, full package. You just go there, and then you build up from there. And for me was this sort of attitude. And what is also important, what we bring as internationals, we bring another way of doing things.
100%.
And we bring we build up things with scarcity resources. We are not used to it, to build things like, oh, you have the team, you have the money, you have this, you have that. So we come from that's my story. Some other people have their own stories, but I come from Bosnia and Herzegovina that had suffered the war not long time ago. So you know what it means to build something from nothing and live with very few resources and build something great out of it.
Yes.
And you have seen people doing that over and over and over again. And we also have a very strong diaspora around the world. So you see accomplished people with whatever degrees that you can think of, working at the places where they, you know, the most exclusive places that and the most prestigious places and university that they can think of. And then you say, well, why not me? You know, because they went as refugees or they went later on and they did this and that. So why is not me? Right? So what is that is stopping me? So you have this, so you don't let, you know, all this overwhelms you when you come to the country, but you say, look, this is me, this is my uniqueness, and this is what I can do and create. And you bring this new, fresh perspective that you know, all normal companies, you know, open companies would with open mind would appreciate, you know, having someone that brings it up. So keep that in your mind. You know, that's the long story said short. That basically
owning our story is so important. Owning where we're coming from, owning what we have done, even if it has been hard times, if there were layoffs, even if there were, you know, inconvenient circumstances that might look bad on your CV, own it. And what have you done with it? What have you learned from it? How did you turn the situation around? For me, that's the most important thing. What have you done out of this bad situation? And I just wanted to, I know we are already almost running out of time because you were touching on the topic of, oh, I need German. And I feel like that's, you know, one of the messages that I would like to put out there. Sometimes roles require German for the everyday work, but the company speaks English, or the opposite. Sometimes the role is fully in English, but the company is in German. You can give yourself the time and build your career in English while you get accustomed to the language and while you build up your skills. So never ignore a job posting that says you need fully German. If you know it's a Swedish company or an American company where everybody is anyways interacting in English, you will never know until you start putting yourself out there, start asking the questions, making the connections, and verifying how you can have this kind of opportunity and entry door there.
Absolutely. And as you said, Paula, if I may, so try to meet people from the company wherever they are. So people are nowadays very much sharing on LinkedIn or any other media, social media channels that they are going to be at this event, that event. And some of the events are, you know, online, for instance, that you can, or, you know, online, offline, so that you can join and then listen to it. And it has a very different when you send a LinkedIn message, for instance, to the person that you listen to the talk and then you learn this, a couple of things, or you're curious, it comes very differently than just like a simple, you know, let's connect on LinkedIn for whatever reason. So the background story very much matters, and find a way just basically to go out and meet people in person. Introduce yourself. It might not work out. I met so many in the first event, so many great people that I stayed in contact over the 10 years. Can you imagine? We were typing
and then you
each
need
other.
them in the next 10 years and they need you, and life goes
and
around,
it's just like,
right?
yes, I'm here. And there's like, I love your CV. You would be a great fit, but now it's not the right time. And then it's like, okay, let's just keep in touch. And then you just, you know, have these contacts that you can, maybe not always a job, but, you know, you can ask some questions, you get insight, you can get referrals, they can bring you to your network, but it starts with you. You have to basically make this first move, and you have to be there authentically yourself. And when I met these people back then, I said, look, we came to Austria, we're starting from the scratch. This is what we have done. This is where we are at the moment, and this is what we want to achieve. So there was no shame or nothing to hide. And I'm just like trying to mask some breaks in between. And this is for whatever fancy reason I'm in Austria. No, I really wanted to do something, to grow, to try something new, and we wanted to give ourselves the time. So I was fully upfront with that, and that was the way how I handled it from there, and was really nicely accepted.
Very nice.
Paula, thank you so much. I hope I didn't take much of your time today.
No, this was amazing. I wish we would have longer to talk. There's so many things to unpack on career, life. We didn't even enter the whole motherhood and career topic, right?
Oh my God. There will be a lot about that. I did a podcast, nice podcast with Lizzie Motzbichel on that topic, Vereinbarkeit, balance between work and family. It's coming out next week on the 24th. It's in German.
Mhm.
But Paula, if you want to talk about that topic, Lizzie is your person to go. So you should check it out. I'll send you the link. To all of you, thank you so much for joining today. I hope you find some interesting insights. Do check Paula's work. I will link her contacts. And do, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll bring more cool stories. And thank you so much for today, and talk to you very much soon.
Thank you.